Oye, espérate y espérame. Pero vamos a hablar inglés.
No me llama Carlos, ese no es mi nombre, ahora es un cocotazo. Tiene que entender que soy muy genuino, muchacho. Me da pique porque para ti soy un fracaso. Me da pique porque para los hombres soy Pegaso. Me da pique porque transfo y sobrepaso. Me da pique porque ellos son carrasco. Me da pique porque ellos son carrasco. Un carrasco, dale fuetazo. Un carrasco, dale fuetazo.
Espérate y espérame. Pero vamos a hablar inglés. Nah, I love that. But anyways, que lo que mi gente, and welcome back to another episode of the Vamos a Hablar Inglés podcast. I'm your host, La Reina Taina, and I want to wish everybody a happy new year, 2025, new year, new us. Let's try to focus on the good. Unconditional love is the theme of our podcast episode today. So let's sit in that, right? Let's sit in what we take away when we think about unconditional love, when we think about love, when we think about a better tomorrow. What does that look like for each one of us? This episode is titled From Trauma to Triumph, a personal story of liberation. We're going to take time in this podcast to talk about my lived experiences the past 2 years living in a very toxic DV situation. And I want to continue to expand on our conversation about emotionally immature parents that we had with our guest speaker, Mr. AJ Ravi Kamal. So shout out to AJ Ravi Kamal. I want to continue to expand further on that conversation because there's so much that we talked about last time and there's just so much to unpack. And I would like to unpack that throughout this year. Now, if you listen to my first episode of the Vamos a Hablar Inglés podcast, where I introduced myself and my new academic practice or academic study known as Afro-Jotx studies, you will know that I was kicked out of my 2 childhood homes and forced to find a home via Craigslist, which then became my home for 2 years. This was located in the suburbs of northern New Jersey, and I was forced to endure a lot of traumatic experiences living in that house. But outside of all the bad, I learned valuable lessons while living in that house. As a post-structuralist, my understanding of post-structuralism and decolonial theory evolved exponentially in that house. These systems of oppression were truly strategically designed to have all of us fall in line like loyal little soldiers. This leaves no room for a very important thing, and that thing is unconditional love. So what is unconditional love? I took some time to ask ChatGPT. Gotta get this together and make sure we got all of our facts right. So I wanted to get for us 2 different types of definitions. An academic definition on unconditional love, and then more of a grassroots layperson definition so that we can have 2 perspectives, because I feel like sometimes the academic definitions of things are still kind of confusing and don't really explain what it's about. So that's why I wanted to provide 2 to be more accessible. And also so that we can have different dimensions, because we shouldn't be learning things from a linear perspective, right? That's why critical pedagogy is so important, right? The reimagination of teaching and how we teach and how we receive information. So the academic definition of unconditional love, it states, unconditional love in academic context typically refers to a type of love that is given freely without any conditions or expectations. It is often described as a profound and compassionate affection that transcends shortcomings or faults. This concept is explored in various disciplines such as psychology, philosophy, and sociology, emphasizing its altruistic and selfless nature. Now for the grassroots definition. In grassroots or everyday context, unconditional love is often understood as a form of love that is steadfast and unwavering. Oh yes, honestly, that sounds amazing. I want my love life to be unwavering. I want an unwavering type of love. Regardless of circumstances or behavior. It is seen as a deep and enduring commitment to care, support, and accept someone fully for who they are without judgment or reservation. This definition is grounded in personal experiences and relationships, highlighting the resilience and strength found in loving others unconditionally. So I want to keep these definitions in the back of our minds as we progress through this podcast episode. We're going to be talking about so many things. So many triggering things, which I will go into a little bit more in just a second. But throughout all of this, I want us to remember that the key takeaway here is that I am arguing in this podcast episode that in order to truly heal from trauma and have our society actually progress forward in the way that it should, we need to start implementing and including unconditional love in every facet of our system. Jesús, qué cansancio. We're gonna dive into it, but I was recently diagnosed with scoliosis, which makes a lot of sense. So yes, before we jump in, I want to give a couple of disclaimers. This episode is absolutely rated R. I'm gonna say that again. This episode is absolutely rated R, as it will be touching on some very heavy and sensitive topics, such as sexual violence, suicidal ideation, and more. Please take care of yourself as you listen. And I encourage you to visit my SOS page on my website at www.lareinataina.com/SOS for any support you might need. And also, don't feel inclined to listen to this episode. You know, there are so many ways and dimensions for me to explain this experience that doesn't have to be you listening to the gritty details, right? Because I know for a lot of us that could be triggering. So I want to remind everyone, go on my website. I have all my poetry on my website, right? Go on my website. I have all my music videos, my lyrics, right? Lyric videos, all the different dimensions of who I am exist in the different dimensions of art that I create. And they all are talking about the same thing. Point blank, period. So again, go listen to my album Toca Corazón, because I'm going to be referencing it a lot, and again, take care of yourself. A lot of what you'll hear today may sound complex or academic, but I don't expect you to fully understand every connection I make. The key takeaway I want everyone to leave with is that unconditional love is the only type of love that will set our hearts free. It's the only type of system that will set our society free. Now, let me tell y'all something. There was a huge lack of unconditional love in my life, especially in the past 2 years. Like I mentioned in previous episodes, I was kicked out of my childhood home, yada, yada, yada. And at the end of the day, there was no unconditional love in that house. Like I mentioned before and in previous episodes, I got kicked out of 2 of my childhood homes. I ended up living in a house in northern New Jersey where I was forced to endure so much trauma, but also where I learned valuable lessons about life and love. There was no unconditional love in that house, and there wasn't unconditional love in my childhood homes either. For a long time, that's all I knew. It felt like there was no space for love to exist in any corner of my life. But I've come to realize that it's unconditional love that will set us free. No other kind of love will ever be enough. No other kind of system, no other kind of solution, manner, method, pedagogy will ever be sufficient. Right now, I especially want to turn to the survivors. Survivors of domestic violence, sexual violence, bullying, cyberbullying, human trafficking, sex trafficking, all forms of violence. I want you to hear this message. The system we live in is built to program us to eliminate each other when we become an anomaly to the binary. I'm going to say that again. The system we live in is built to program us to eliminate each other when we become an anomaly to the binary. That system works to incite more violence when we don't fall in line with what white supremacy and binary thinking demands. I want to teach you to use critical thinking to connect your lived experiences to the greater structures of this capitalist system. It's time that we step outside of our personal and political biases and look at the world objectively and look at our own world objectively. Now, let me make something really clear. All of this unconditional love, creating dialogue about our lived experiences, all of this is about being what I like to call pro-human. What does pro-human mean? Honestly, that's probably the only political title, if we want to call it political, socio-political title, that I'll claim. I'm over all the other titles. Forget all of it. All of them. But again, what does pro-human mean? Well, to me, it's about the promotion, protection, and preservation of all human beings. It's about ensuring that humans safely reach their desired goal in life, whether that's birthing offspring, living a long life, or achieving something meaningful. I was never safe in that house. My family pushed me away and sent me straight into the arms of a rapist. That was my reality on January 1st, 2023. That was the truth I had to face. My parents didn't unconditionally love me, and that's because they never received that kind of love from their parents. And that's what I want to talk about today. What is unconditional love? It's about loving yourself, standing up for yourself, and walking away from places that do not serve you, from spaces, from people, from energies, from entities, from institutions that don't serve you. This is the same thing we discussed in the last episode, where we talked about how emotionally mature parents create cycles of trauma that lasts for generations. Unconditional love is the antidote to that trauma, and that's what we need to focus on. So now let's jump into the podcast, shall we, darling? So the way that I want to break down this podcast is, first, as always, you know me, I love giving my historical context, because we're talking about systems of oppression here, and we can't just, do a little 1, 2, like, we got to do a 1, 2, 3, 4. And don't say, we're going to talk about 3 important points in my life, right? Time periods, situations, scenes, if you will. And that's going to help us build our understanding of how I ended up in the house that I did the past 2 years, because that's very important. It's kind of like the show This Is Us on Netflix. I don't know if y'all watched that. AJ hooked me up on that, and I be crying. It's a great show. Y'all should watch it. Actually, it really does an amazing job at depicting emotionally immature parents and like that process of growing through that, and like the struggles of, having these tough conversations with your family, especially families that, have been to war, families that have a lot of trauma that they haven't even processed themselves. Great stuff. Great stuff. No family's perfect. So, yes, contextually, we're going to talk about the 3 little pillars that are going to ground this conversation. And it's going to be the fight that I had with my godmother and her husband, Anna and Henry, in 2019. Number 2 is going to be the fight/argument that I had with my aunt Odalis regarding my graduation in college. This was spring 2022. And finally, we're going to talk about the most important one, which is when my grandmother, Mama, kicked me out of my original childhood home. And that was in December 26, 2022. So we're going to do it in chronological order. And then once we do that, we have built that understanding. And then we're going to go into what actually is a couple of excerpts that I pulled from a 11-page document that I typed myself, that I wrote myself, essentially explaining to my former roommate why I left all of a sudden. And yeah, I left literally the day of, without letting them know. They kind of figured, it's kind of obvious, but I didn't actually tell them until I finished moving all my shit out the room. Like, because again, you're going to know why. You know, I normally don't do this. Like, this is not something that I do. Like, I've always been a people pleaser. I've always been, you know, you gotta respect your elders, like, no matter what. And, like, again, like, my grandmother is the one that raised me, and she lived a life of fear. And she always moved differently when she was around white people, especially white men. So it's like that made me feel like I had to fear white men. And, like, if I don't act right, you know, something bad's gonna happen. I let that shit go. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Disrespect is disrespect. And I don't care if you are Jesus Christ himself. Disrespect is disrespect. Period. So I took some excerpts and we're going to go quote by quote. And I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. I may paraphrase some things because I wanted to like make it more full. And also like full disclosure, I was manic when I was writing this shit. So, you know. Yeah, my shit was all over the place. And that's something else that I want to give as a disclaimer is that I'm a human and I'm an artist. And as an artist, artists have to be very vulnerable and honest with their lived experiences. And I'm not going to go into my art career, into my creative direction career, into my film career, not being my full self. And we need to understand that anger is a human emotion. Mania is a human emotion. Suicidal thoughts are human emotions. And they're real. And everyone has them. Okay? We may not have them as extreme as others, but we all have them. Every animal, every species has them. And we need to really understand that and accept that instead of running away from it. And I'm going to teach you guys not to run away from it in this episode. Because a lot of this is very personal. A lot of this I haven't fully fleshed out yet. And again, like, I'm a black trans woman. I have a lot of shame and embarrassment with showing you guys this side of me, the angry nigga side, right? It's not a good taste, right? A lot of people will say that. You know, a lot of people would prefer me to fall in line and be the good tranny. This is a part of me. This is a part of who I am. And we need to understand that I came from literally nothing. I came from emotional loneliness, emotional neglect, and abandonment. And I lost my mother at 2 years old. Less than that. This is my defense mechanism. I had to reparent myself my entire life. The person you know today, I reparented in those 2 years in that household. Period. This shit better be... I was just reading this shit and I'm like, Diablo, pero espérate y espérame. This shit is mad long. I'm not gonna try to read it all. Actually, reading it is probably gonna be faster. Oh my god, I just had deja vu. Ooh, I literally just had, oh wow. And I had deja vu saying that I was gonna, wow. Everything, just, that whole scene that just happened the past 5 seconds. Yo, my life, I see everything like a film in my head. I'm like, rewind. Anyways, yeah, I don't know why. I felt like I had a deja vu where I was like looking at this and I was looking at the number 2019 and I was talking to y'all. And I had, whoa, very quantum. Ooh, I feel like I had like a dream about that when I was younger. Period. At the end of the day, everything is the same thing. We're everything and nothing. But yeah, that was pretty cool. So, I'm sorry, I'm in a good mood. Anyways, no, because I'm reading, oh my god, I'm reading this and it's just like, well, let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck, right? Let's keep it a buck. Just like a lot of people, specifically Caribbeans, I use humor and dark humor to mask my shame, my embarrassment, my anger, my sadness, basically anything that I don't want people to know. Like, let's be honest. And I'm saying this because I want people to be honest with themselves. And I want all Caribbean people, like I said, all Caribbean people, Caribe, Caribbean, yeah. So if you from there, if you have your family from there, yeah, I'm talking to you. Aight. You know where that is, right? Aight, okay, cool. Anyways. Whatever. Okay. It's like, I'm excited, but I'm like, oh my god, this is it. You know, and y'all probably thought that I said that in the first episode, right? Like, oh, this is it. Everyone's gonna know everything. But it's just like, I'm gonna be always saying that, honestly. I'm gonna always be saying that. I'm gonna be like, damn. Because there's so much I don't know, and there's so much that I need to share. We're gonna do this in baby steps. Entonces, in 2019, ¿verdad? We had a little fight argument with Anna and Henry. So, oh my God, yo. I'm over here rethinking everything, and I'm like, ugh. I have to recount everything. But it's okay, because I want y'all to, this is the real me, this is live, this is like no edits, like I want y'all to hear this, because I'm not, I'm just like y'all, like I'm so sick and tired of everyone being like, oh, this bitch has it together, like, yeah, she was just born spiritual, put together, no, ho, who the fuck told you that shit? You got me mistaken for your mother, ho, because it's not me. No, like, it's the same shit. Like, every single time I enter a room, no matter if it's indoors or outdoors or public, or I've been in it for 7,000 times, I still get mad fucking anxiety. All the time. You know, I be getting fucking claustrophobia. I love saying it like that. It's because of my favorite movie. Shout out to As Above, So Below. Love that movie. Claustrophobia. Anyways. Oh, drama. Okay. We're gonna jump in. Fuck it. We're gonna jump in the water. Okay, so basically what happened was, boom. Okay. What happened was that it was winter 2019. I came back from Brown, and winter break, blah blah blah. I was at Anas's house, and again, context. Anas's house was my second childhood home. So when I said I got kicked out of 2 childhood homes, it's because every weekend I would go to Anas's house since I was like 2, and I had my own room there. So like obviously, like as a child, you're developing that mentality, like, yes, this is my space, this is my room, this is my house. Especially because they would tell me that. Entonces, Ana and I were watching a movie. No, mentira. We're watching a show. It's called the President? The Independent, The President? It's about this gay kid that becomes school president for his high school. It's on Netflix. Algo así. I think they only had like one season. But anyways, I thought it was pretty cool. And something that I was doing at that time, right? I came out to myself as bisexual when I was 16, officially 16ish. So 2017 to 2019, I spent that period of time really trying to hone in on trying to get through to Anna with like the whole queer and trans community. So, I would put little snippets in everything. Like, she loved baseball, she loved sports. So I would purposely try to research like baseball players that are bisexual, baseball players that whatever, or like I'll search up something really cool about trans people that isn't a topic that she fucks with, like law or whatever may have you, like home renovations. And it's like, it never worked. But anyways, when it came to like shows and shit, like we always used to watch shows together, so I guess that was fine. And I really liked the show because I was like, oh, maybe this could be like a nice, like in my head I was like, oh, it's quote unquote digestible enough for her, so maybe like this could be a way to kind of bring it all in. And also I didn't come out to them until August 25th of 2018, so there's some little context there. But then yeah, this is after the fact that I came out, so I was just trying to like do all that. For context, in 2018, after all that, I came out and everything, Anna essentially said that she doesn't want to know anything about my love life or my sex life and to not bring it up. So 2019 me was like dating different people, and I was like, when I was dating girls in high school, I was able to talk about it with her, and it was like this whole thing. And like, it wasn't even just to get advice from her, it was just for someone to listen, and she was always there. So it's like after 2018, that was just like off the table, because she just told me that. And I'm not, and again, I was a kid that fell in line in a lot of ways. I was the good kid. I was the oldest. I was the one that went to the Ivy League private school, knows 3 languages, went to China, went to an Argentina student exchange program in high school, the whole 9, the whole parent American dream, wet dream, fucking immigrant love story. I did it. So whatever. Entonces, fast forward, we're watching this show. And something that was so funny, which is why I feel like it was inevitable for me to get kicked out of these houses, because I feel like my birth mother Orquídea or the universe or my spirits, they were like always trying to fuck me up. Because I'm like, damn, girl, like, y'all not gonna give me a break? Fuck. Like, my entire life, I couldn't even be low about nothing. I couldn't be, well, that's the thing, too. Like, they control my whole life and my identity. So it was really hard to be low, period, because they knew all my, they knew all my moves. But I was still low. I tried. The goody two shoes to me, the recluse. Lord. Fun fact, every time I think about the word recluse, I think about To Kill a Mockingbird, because when I first read the book in middle school, was it? Or high school? Or middle school? It was one of the vocab words of the week. That's like nerd shit. Does anyone have that recollection of like academic memories? Because that's some nerd shit. Like, it's always certain words, too. It's always certain words. Entonces, we're watching this show, and I'm telling you, it always happens, like, at the same time. Like, serendipity or lo que sea. Or no, like, it happens as if it was, like, a movie scene. Like, I'm not even joking. My life is a movie scene. Because we're watching an episode, and it's whatever episode that the boy ends up kissing a boy for the first time in the whole show. What? Literally, it's like a whole thing, right? Like, romance, slow motion, low music. The second they start kissing, this nigga walks in. And this nigga, when I mean this nigga, I'm talking about Henry, which is her ex-husband now, I guess. Lord. Anyways, so then, what was the first thing he said? He was like, what is this shit on my TV or some shit like that? I would never forget that shit. But anyways, I was literally like, I had two paths. Either I continued to be quiet and just didn't say nothing, or I decided to stand up for myself and for all queer and trans people. Obviously, I took the latter. But, yo, when I tell y'all that this night, all I wanted to do was watch TV. Oh, yo, I just want to chill. Everybody want to start shit with me because I'm so awesome and they're jealous. Anyways, entonces, ¿qué pasa? So now he's going all haywire. Yeah. And then we're going back and forth for, I think, almost an hour. But I recorded 30 minutes of it because my hands were shaking. I was having a panic attack. And I thought he was actually going to physically attack me. So I was just like, good thing that my fucking godmother is a lawyer because I learned a lot of things from her. So I fucking recorded everything. And I recorded a large majority of his speech. I didn't record a lot of my speech. Obviously, I was in the moment. So you only hear a couple. And we're going to listen to them right now. But eso pasó. We went back and forth. You're going to hear everything. And also, that's why I made Toca Corazón the album. Track number 2 is specifically about Henry and Ana in that instance. That was actual audios. So, yeah, let's start with the audios. Let's listen to them right now. So we're going to listen to the first snippet of me talking in track number 2 of album number 2, Toca Corazón. And then we're going to do the second one. So I'm going to play the first one and then I'll play the second one. And I'm playing it on my phone. I'm not trying to be this technologically advanced shit. I literally went to bed at 4 a.m. today. Because I was inspired yesterday. I was like, you know what? I'm going to make the transcript and we're just going to just chat. But anyways, Bime. Vamos. At the end of the day, you stole my son, you stole my blood. So, let the record show, I don't want to hear anybody in the comments. I don't want to hear anybody from my family side, my biological former family side. I don't want to hear nobody's beak say that I didn't try. I don't want to hear nobody's beak say that I didn't communicate effectively, de esta and the third. No. Porque cada vez yo quería hablar, all of a sudden is, oh, so I'm a bad parent? No. Verse number 2, let's hear it. Yo, that shit gets me. I'm not gonna talk about that in this episode, but yo, he kills me every single time he says that shit. He said that shit like, well, it's because I repeated it when he was talking about don't be Muslim or whatever. Jesus Christ, help me. But I'm sorry. That's definitely, we're gonna leave that. We're gonna leave that for another time because there's just so much. There's so much. I would love to invite someone to my podcast and like unpack that with them because there's just so much. And that shit is funny. Anyways, ya. I digress. Vamos a buscar la segunda. Oh, here. Here we go. Yeah, sorry y'all. That's some hardcore shit, no? That's some hardcore shit. I was 19 years old. You know what I mean? Like this former house that I was living in, I was, between 23 and 25, and it's like I started getting medication last year. In 2023, in like August, no, mentira, in November-ish, ¿verdad? So I've been having a suicidal ideation since middle school, if I'm being completely honest, right? And it's like that snippet of my life that you guys know, keep that in the back of your mind, because now when you hear all these things about this, this former roommate and esto pasado 2 años, like you guys have not even a toenail of the understanding, of the comprehension. Entiende? Like, that's what y'all need to understand about trauma. Trauma is not this, oh yeah, this girl was raped, or oh yeah, like, yeah, they're just depressed and they like to, this, that, and the third. No. There's so much that goes into it. And also, very important is that my former roommate literally almost looked like Henry. And Henry is, again, one of my original essayers. Fact. And just imagine the level of suicidal ideation I had these past 2 years. When I was already saying what I was saying, you heard it. That was me at 2019, right? Still never got support. It was me that I went out of my way to get therapy, right? After my first breakup with my first queer breakup. And it was 2020, fall of 2020, and I decided to get a therapist, Shout out to my therapist. But that was all by myself. And I was in a really dark place at that time. And it's like, here we are, right? So, again, I tried. Like so many of us try. And I was good. I'm done. Like, ya, estamos aquí. We're in a better place now. Gracias a Dios. Yeah, it's just, Let's take a collective deep breath in. You know, I listen back to these audios, and every time I feel more confident in the fact that I did everything right and that I did communicate my feelings to each one of them. You know, at the end of the day, it's just a classic emotionally immature parent that, you know, takes every conflict as a diss at their entire livelihood, right? Something that sounds very much like a 5-year-old. They automatically take things personally, and they feel like you're attacking their entire existence when you reprimand them, right? They taught me to take things personally, yet they clowned me for taking things personally and telling me essentially that I don't have enough tough skin and that I need to have tougher skin, rather. Not make tougher skin. But again, you see the irony? I tried explaining myself to them for as long as I could remember, as early as kindergarten, honestly, and nobody listened. My temporary childhood therapist was the only one who really listened, and that was only in kindergarten. That's it. Okay, número dos. I love that we're 40 minutes in. You know me. I love to talk. And I love doing this. I should have done the podcast years ago because, yeah, I don't know this, but I feel like I've said this once, I think, pero I be doing this shit by myself. Like, if I'm walking outside or in my room and I want to brainstorm, like, I'll just pop on my headphones and I'll go to my voice memo app and I'll just record. Because there was this one thing a long time ago. I was just like, honestly, at the end of the day, like, the FBI is listening to all of this, so why does it matter? So, you know what I mean? So I was just like, boop. And I'll talk about all my personal shit. So, you know. And the funny thing is that what I do that helps me a lot mentally, right, is that after I finish those audios, I actually delete them. And I delete them, like, permanently. And that helps me because, you know, it's like I have my actual journal where I write things down, but then I have this where I can just talk shit and just like spew whatever, even if it doesn't make sense or even if it may sound like derogatory or something. Like, it's allowing me to have that private space to just let the brain flow without limitations, and also using that time to acknowledge what comes up, right? And use that as a way of holding myself accountable and improving in my life. So now we move on to my aunt, Odalis. So spring 2022. So basically what happened was 2019 happened, ¿verdad? And then everything started boiling. Then we make it to spring. We make it to like winter 2021 into spring 2022, ¿verdad? Y because of everything, I was getting a lot of therapy, and then, you know, with my therapist, I was trying to do little like conflict resolution stuff with mama, specifically mama, because at the end of the day, like, a lot of my trauma and a lot of the trauma of my family is rooted in mama and her parents. So, like, you know, and also like my birth mother was her firstborn, so you know what I mean. Like, there's a very, very deep, like, entity, deep experience, deep trauma, deep everything. I'm running out of words, but it needed to be addressed, right? It needed to be addressed. And obviously I'm still a child. Like, I was still a child regardless. I was still a child. I was still trying to make sense of things. I had no identity. And obviously I'm bombarding her with all these questions, and I try my best to like wait a couple weeks, wait a couple months, say it differently, bring it up in a funnier way. Like, I did everything. I didn't just do it in one way. I'm a smart individual. I can do it in multiple ways. It just overwhelmed her. It was too much. It was way too much. And then obviously she's over here, you know, going to her two daughters that she has, Anna and Odalis, and she works with Odalis, so she's with her more often, and she's telling her everything. You know, I'm hearing a rumor that my mom's like crying to Odalis, and that I'm ungrateful, this, that, and the third, and that you know, the whole nine. Entonces, Dallas, right? And this is what's so, when you zoom out, this is what's so interesting, right? Because now Dallas uses this as an opportunity to defend her mother, right? Because as one does, it's like, oh, my mother is crying. Like, I never see my mother cry. Like, that means it's something serious. And also, this is verbatim what Dallas said too. Like, oh, like, my mom doesn't just cry for no reason, right? And it's just like, I'm going to just say it for what it is. All those people, when they saw me, they saw Orquídea and they saw my birth father, who is the murderer of my birth mother. Okay? It doesn't matter what anyone says. It doesn't matter what anyone says. People who know what the tea is, people who know what life is, real life, struggle, y'all know. Y'all know. There's this distance. There's this resentment that parents have when they have a child from someone that was horrible, you know? And that brings them so much a reminder of that trauma of that day, you know. I 100% acknowledge that, and we'd be remiss to say that that did not impact the relationship that I had with my ma, Ana, and Odales. It absolutely fucking did. None of them got therapy for the fact that their sister / firstborn was murdered. She died in 2001, guys. It's 2025. I don't care what it is. That was your other half that you lost. You absolutely need to talk to someone about that, regardless of what your views are about therapy. That's a form of self-love. You don't even respect yourself. You don't even respect the person that was murdered. You don't give a fuck about my mom. You don't give a fuck about my mom. You don't. I give a fuck about my mom. Because I'm taking the time to understand not only my trauma, but her trauma and y'all ungrateful asses traumas as well. Because it's unacceptable that one day you guys will hear this. And it's going to click. And then you're going to come running back to me, talk about, oh, I'm sorry. Everybody else listening, I'm going to tell you something. And I'm going to tell you exactly what my grandmother told me. Verbatim. And she said, a mí me llamaron María, pero yo no soy santa. A mí me llamaron María, pero yo no soy santa. And I'm going to say it again about the whole full spectrum of your emotions, how anger is humanity, how mania is humanity. I will not welcome them back into my life. And this has already been, I'm not even saying this, this has already been set in stone, so I don't even want to hear from nobody. This has been decided for 2 years now. And I don't want to hear from everybody who's older, like, oh, you're going to regret the decision, or, oh, it's going to change when you're older. Fine, let it change when it's older. But guess what? Right now, me not care, okay? Me not care. All right, no. There's amazing people that I have in my life right now that it's just like they're 40 times what my family was. Are you kidding me? Half of them haven't even been here for not even 10% of my life, and they've done more than my family has done in the 25 years I've existed. So Dallas got mad. So what did Dallas do? She decided to say that she decided to tell everybody that I told her she wasn't invited to my college graduation. And that because I didn't tell her explicitly that she's invited into my graduation, that's why she's not going / didn't go. Now, let's talk about petty. All right, let's talk about petty. Because I know everyone listening who had their, your graduations, your birthdays, your bar mitzvahs, your confirmations, your communions, your weddings, all these other things. If you have a fucking aunt that you grew up with, actually, if you have a fucking sibling that you grew up with, actually, that you have a real fucking actual visible present ass, current ass relationship with, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? You flying fucking kidding me? ¿Cómo así? No, and then I don't want to hear it because maybe some people, they do invite their aunts or whatever, or what, lo que sea. So let me give y'all context of my family. That shit's not a thing, man. Something as intermediate as your, first fucking aunt? No, bro. That's not what? ¿Cómo así? First off, hello, I'm Dominican. I'm Caribbean. I'm Latinx. ¿Cómo el diablo eso? Bitch, they're going regardless. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Like, do y'all know Latinx people? The party is gonna be 15 people or more regardless. The graduation is gonna have 20 people or more regardless. Y'all niggas gave us 4 tickets, but guess what, baby? We're gonna have 20 people. Hello, like, what? Like, that's not even a thing. What the fuck? Like, no. So your mom, my grandmother is gonna go. Your sister, my aunt, my godmother is gonna go. Your kids are gonna go, but you're not gonna go because I said that you specifically is not allowed to. No. Nope. And again, for more context, she was present at my kindergarten graduation, middle school graduation, when I received my communion for those that are Catholic, when I received my confirmation for those that are Catholic, when I got my high school graduation, my high school diploma, my high school graduation party. None of this I invited her, and she just showed up because obviously it's a given. She spent 3.5 years driving me 40 minutes north to Oradell, New Jersey, where my shit ass high school was, every fucking morning at 6 a.m. Every fucking morning at 6 a.m. She was present at my birth. She was present at practically every single birthday of mine from birth to 22, 23 years old. And she was not invited to any of those things, yet she was absolutely fucking present. Talk about really dehumanizing me, making me feel small, diminishing my existence. That you would make up this lie. And furthermore, around this time, and I've said this before, I'm almost positive I said this in the first episode, but when I was having a serious suicidal, bad, borderline was gonna do it. It was Thanksgiving. I forget, it was 2021 or whatever, I think, Thanksgiving 2021. And they were hosting, my godmother was hosting Thanksgiving, ¿verdad? Y I told myself, because I was, again, working with my therapist, and I concluded with my therapist at the time that I'm going to be there for maximum, 2 hours, 90 minutes, like I say, short. And I told them, and then, we were going back and forth, preparing I was literally for an hour getting coached on how to deal with this shit, bro. And then y'all made me feel so small about all of this that none of this fucking mattered. And I literally didn't even have the fucking gall, the spirit, the throat chakra to even exist next to y'all, because that's how fucking suicidal y'all made me feel. So I'm in Thanksgiving, I'm over here, I eat, and I'm leaving. Everyone's losing their mind. My mom loses her fucking mind. Loses her mind. I leave. Whatever. I think I linked up with one of my cousins, and after that I left. What is this woman telling everybody? What is Odalis, my aunt, telling everybody? What is she telling everybody? She's telling everybody that the reason why I left early is because I went ahead to go have Thanksgiving dinner with my birth father's family, whom which I do not know at all until last year. But at the time, I did not fucking know and did not care to know, right? So talk about the guilt. And again, for a lot of people that don't know, the reason why I'm this upset about this, guys, again, you want to make judgments, but y'all don't know the whole story. A week before my mother was murdered, her sister, Odalis, told her that she could drop dead. They were getting into whatever fucking fight it was. And the last phone call that Odalis had was telling my mother that she could die and that nobody would give a fuck and that she didn't give a fuck and that she can go die, kill herself, whatever the fuck she said. And what happened a week later? She was murdered. So don't make this about me not inviting your bitch ass to my college graduation. Absolutely don't do that, number one. Number two, you're not ever going to fucking disrespect the 4 years that I fucking put in that fucking Ivy League. That's one. We're not doing that. How dare you have the audacity to even play games with that shit. And I'm glad you didn't go, because you don't deserve to revel in my triumph. You fucking kidding me? I literally feel my mother inside me, like, angry as fuck. That was her little sister. Really, bro? No. 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 And last but not least, December 26th, 2022. Listen, it's the switchback. I can do the switchback, gal, okay? I can be emotional, I can be passionate, and we can go back to being silly. To transition into what we're going to talk about today, I want to explain the third pillar by just showing you the song. Because, bitch, like, I ain't gonna waste my time. I ain't gonna waste my time. Because basically all I was gonna say is that my own grandmother looked at me dead in the face and she says that I am worse than the murderer that murdered her daughter, and that I am the enemy of the family and that I am her enemy. So if you look at track number 1 in Toca Corazon, Emotionally Immature Parents, part 1, you're going to hear her say all of this stuff. So we're going to just, listen to some. You see, vete de mi casa. Ey, tú eres enemigo de nosotros. Vete de mi casa, men desgraciado. Yes. Tú eres enemigo mío. Ooh, that be, this is, mi casa, men desgraciado. No cap. When I put this together, AJ and I, we were bumping to this shit for like a month. We're like, wait. Why did this hit so good? Like, why did this eat? So again, like, let's take a moment, right? The key takeaway here from these 3 pillars is to not only face your trauma head on, but also find ways to make joy out of it. Because it's like, bro, that's supposed to happen, right? At the end of the day, like, we don't get to choose the cards that we're dealt with. But at the end of the day, challenge and barriers and stuff like that, that's meant to happen in our lives. That's a part of the universal experience, not just the human experience, but the experience of all entities, everything that exists. There's going to be trials and tribulations. So we can't, as humans, rational beings, we can't get so caught up in that. And that's someone like me, suffering from bipolar disorder, who's saying that, right? It's very difficult for me to not have the suicidal thoughts every 5 seconds, not have the depressive thoughts. But at the end of the day, that's why I try so hard to also show the other side of me, which is the joy. Because I am also someone that is very joyous. Everyone knows that. I was voted best smile so many times in my schools. Like, that is a part of who I am. And I want everyone to understand that there are so many people like me in the world that are just little kids that just want to smile. And little kids that continue to fucking smile. That's why it's so hard for me to, even look at the things that are happening around the world, specifically in Sudan and Palestine and in the Congo, because it's like, y'all don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, y'all don't get it. Even when I was in Peru, I can't get the image out of my head with a young little girl. She had her, una piedrita, a rock. And she was showing me, and she was like, mira mi muñequita. She was showing me, she was saying that, look at my doll. And, obviously I'm over here playing along with it and everything. And she's having a blast. She was talking about how she had a house for it y todo. And it's an imaginary house. But it's just like, this galdom is extremely impoverished. And she is having giggling, dead ass. Having a blast with this fucking rock. A rock. You feel me? So it's just like, life fucking sucks for everybody. But it's so important to just giggle a little bit. So let me show you the next part. You heard her? She said, tú eres igualito tú eres igualito que ese desgraciado que quitó la vida de mi hija. Sorry. My fucking tongue twister shit. I got a big tongue. Okay, beautiful. Anyways. Entonces, sí, like, this is something that we really need to understand, right? We need to really understand why the fuck I'm fucking mad. Okay, I'm someone that was also actually diagnosed with a phobia, like a health phobia. It's different than OCD, but, like, my body shuts down when I worry about my body. Like, I physically shut down. I could faint. I have hot flashes. I throw up, like, everything. I spaz out. Like, I can get paralyzed. It's a lot. It's really serious shit. And it's upsetting that this was never, it's something that my family didn't, I guess, pay attention to, tend to, you know, for lack of a better word. And a lot of the specialists that I've been meeting the past 2 years, literally, it's just been so overwhelming because, again, I have the phobia. So the fact that I, every other month, basically, am getting a new diagnosis about my body, like, that's a lot for me. And I'm getting no support, y'all. Like, I'm finding all this shit out completely by myself. Y'all get your mom and dad, your cousin, whoever the fuck, that they're there for you. Your significant other is there for you. I had nobody, okay? Nobody. Okay? And it's upsetting that I found out that I had ADHD by myself. It's upsetting that I found out that I suffer from suicidal ideation by myself. It's upsetting that I found out I even had suicidal thoughts. It's upsetting that I even found out that I am bipolar. It's upsetting that I even found out that I was diagnosed with complex PTSD, anxiety, depression. It's really upsetting that only 2 weeks ago I found out that I had scoliosis. It's even more upsetting that only a week ago I found out that I could potentially have glaucoma because my optic nerves are too wide and I could literally be completely blind if I don't take care of it soon. And it's just like, and then again, I literally got 2 cavities the only time that I'm not with the family. I've never had cavities ever in my life. And I suffer from a fucking eating disorder. Like, yo, I'm not even joking with y'all. I've had stomach problems since fucking 17. You know what I mean? Like, y'all don't understand. And also, taking it a step further, in high school, I was actually hospitalized. I was paralyzed. And, you know, at first they were like, oh, it's because you have, you know, bad food at Olive Garden or whatever, because it was like a graduation party. But oh no, it's because I spent an entire 2 weeks every night before bed crying myself to sleep because around that time, Trump was separating Latino kids from their parents. And I'm over here literally watching every fucking video of these little kids asking for their parents and crying hysterically and only thinking about me. Only thinking about how that could have been me. Only thinking about how that was me at some point. Not having a family, huérfana type energy. Having to be adopted. Regardless of the fact that they're my blood family. It's still, they made me feel like I absolutely wasn't their child. You know what I mean? Like, all these things. And again, to take it even a step further, I have 4 biological first cousins. And they all have an IEP. They got their speech therapy. They got their diagnosis for dyslexia and it's taken care of. They got their diagnosis for ADD and ASD. That's taken care of, right? They, you know, they get their little sports injuries. They get their surgeries. They get their PT. Last week was the first time I got physical therapy. Y'all understand? My body has been hurting since I started running fucking track, which was 14 years old. And every single time I told the high school coaches that my knees and my back was fucking hurting and that I had shin splints, what did they tell me, guys? They said that, oh, that I'm growing and that's normal. While all of my white friends were getting their nice little massages by all these coaches, by all these things. They got their little ice, they got their little advice, they got, ooh, that rhymes. They got their little PT on the side, their little strengthening and conditioning, but I never got any of that, right? Because a nigga's a stallion, right? Because black men got it, right? Because we tough, right? I was never, in any point in my life, was actually given a fuck about. Fact. I want to hear it from nobody else, because y'all don't know the whole story. Y'all don't know the whole story. Y'all didn't even know that my own aunt told my birth mother to drop dead a week before she was fucking murdered by her husband. Y'all don't know shit. Y'all don't know shit. So the next time you try to judge other people, remember you don't know shit about their life. You don't got the full story. So don't even do that. And I know people haven't done it, but again, don't do it because I know people. I grew up with a lot of people like this that they want to open their mouth. Don't try it, honey. Don't try it. Okay. It's not right, but it's okay. I'm gonna make it anyway. Pack your bags up and leave. Don't you dare come running back to me. It's not right, but it's okay. I'm gonna make it anyway. Close the door behind you, leave the keys. I'd rather be alone than unhappy. Eh. Que lo que mi gente. That's actually been one of the songs that has been stuck in my head for a minute. It's my mother speaking through the music. Cause and I have such a so much respect for Whitney Houston, but the part in the song she goes, "It's gonna be okay, I'm gonna be alright, it's gonna be okay," and then she just keeps saying that over and over again, and I was like, wow, so simple, simplicity is the best complexity. Welcome to part two. There are 13 different bullet points. There were a lot more that I put in this 11-page rant that I gave my former roommate, and we're calling him former roommate for a very important reason, because they decided to dehumanize me for 2 years, so they don't deserve a name either, period. Anyways, we're gonna, again, everyone take care of yourselves, because ya tu sabe, I'm not sugarcoating nothing. It's gonna stay the way that it is. All right, okay, you good? Okay, tato. So I did start out with this one. I tried to do it in chronological order of how it happened to me, / the order that I put in the letter. So the first one goes, "You know practically nothing about my life, so let me tell you a small piece so you understand why I'm leaving this shit house and why you are such a problematic human being. My birth mother was murdered by my birth father when I was 2. He's in jail, and she's, well, yeah. I got kicked out of my childhood homes for choosing myself and seeking clarity / closure for the harm my parental guardians caused me. That's why I ended up at your doorstep. I've been attacked, raped, assaulted, sexualized, fetishized, spat on, bullied, cyberbullied, gaslit, manipulated, and controlled. And the majority of those things were acts committed by white boys / men. You guys never see the harm y'all cause just by existing. You guys just walk around life blind to everyone around you. I seriously don't understand how you were a firefighter all these years with little emotional intelligence. Shame on you." So, yeah, that's the first one. Something that I want to make a disclaimer of is there's going to be some that I'm just going to say it and we're going to move on to the next one. And then there's others that I'll expand more on. But what I do want to say is, I'd be remiss if I didn't showcase to you all the full spectrum of my humanity. Like I said again, all this is going to be raw. I was writing this when I was manic. And I just want to make it very clear to everybody that I don't fear or shame my anger. I don't fear or shame my mania. I don't fear or shame my quote-unquote manly aggression. All of my feelings, my emotions, and characteristics make me who I am, and I kind of like that. I really like that. I like all parts of me. So deal with it. They make me the person that's speaking to you right now. They all these emotions, everything, these experiences, they made me the person that I am today, the person that you are listening to right now. How this Gyaldib is trying to make the world a better place by holding abusers and oppressors accountable for their actions, one bozo at a time. Again, we can't just pink wash, or what I like to call joy wash, this society, right? You can't joy wash our way to a better society, a better tomorrow. We can only have a better tomorrow when we do what humans have always been doing, right? Which is to learn from our mistakes and improve. When we build AI robots or bake a cake or build a house for the first time, it's not going to be the best creation that we've ever made. But we will learn from the first attempt, from the second attempt, the third, the fourth, and so on. Why? Because we're humans. And humans learn and improve. We learn and improve. Say it with me. We learn and improve. Learn and improve. One more time. Learn and improve. Period. So, come on. Let's hold each other accountable when we harm each other, because harming each other is anti-human, not pro-human. And remember, think back to the definition of pro-human that I gave. You know? And let's do it. Let's jump into the next one. Number 2. And I quote, I spent over 8 months writing, and I quote, Gamo equals she/her, on your shit whiteboard, and you still chose to call me a man. And you still choose to do it. You still choose to she AJ. But guess who you never ever misgender, former roommate? Your sister. Your transgender white sister. I am exactly like your sister with only one difference, the color of my skin. I am a black trans woman. Your sister is a white trans woman. Let that sink in for a bit. Your man of a sister is allowed to be a woman, but I can't? Why, former roommate? Is it because all black people are men to you? Are we masculine apes to you? Oh yeah, we gonna say it. We gonna make it uncomfortable. Welcome to being uncomfortable. Number 3. Let's get this straight. Listen carefully, buddy. Your comments about AJ's genitalia are sexual violence. Point blank, period. In the 25 years of my life, I have never heard a grown-ass man ask their roommate whether their best friend has a penis or a vagina. Are you fucking mad, bro? Bro, hear yourself when you speak. You sound like a fucking pedophile and rapist, bro. That's a fucking red flag. End quote. Number 4. When you first introduced me to your cop friend who has a Colombian wife, he was smoking a cigarette outside of your house. He was telling us he's ready for the next race war, whatever the fuck that means. And he said it would be against Latinx peoples. He said to say, and I quote, yeah, it's easy. All you have to do is blast salsa music and then throw a grenade. They will be too busy dancing to do anything about it. That's why I married a Colombian woman. End quote. Are you fucking kidding me, bro? End quote. But again, that don't get me started. I'm not bringing Nope. That number 4 is gonna have its own podcast episode. Don't you worry. Don't you fucking worry. Bitch, as a Latinx musician, don't you worry. Say that shit again. Say it again. Say it again. Que los días nunca se para. Entonces sigue ahí que tú va bien. Sigue ahí porque tú va bien. Los días nunca se para y yo no soy maldita santa. Yo soy el puro diablo. Entonces sigue ahí con tu disparate, con tus estupideces. Idiota. Jesús San Diablo. Number 5. And I quote, you white people say, and I quote, stop making everything about race. Yet you crack a joke asking me why I have a, and I quote, brown book bag instead of a, and I quote, white one. And proceed to call me a racist. One time when Diana, who is a black trans person and former friend of mine, came to visit me, right? You told us a story about a black cis woman at work who pissed you off. Mind you, Diana is not a fucking woman and doesn't identify as a woman. But you took one good look at them and you decided to relate to the group by being trans misogynist. I walk around with my natural black afro and you laugh at me and say, and I quote, nice hair, ha ha ha. That's how my natural hair looks, dumbass. End quote. And I took it a step further because, I'm an asshole. So I gave him the definition of trans misogynist because you really think that stupid dumbass? He has a fucking Confederate flag in his garage. And you know what his response was when I asked him why the fuck he had that? He said that, oh, it's different because his family is redneck, and in redneck culture is history, and that is different. It's not racist. Yeah, okay. Next. So I gave him the definition of transmisogynist. So it says the intersection between transphobia, misogyny, and anti-blackness. The term was coined by writer Trudy. It stems from the term misogynoir, which misogynoir emphasizes the intersections of misogyny and anti-blackness, particularly towards black cis women. And because I am a fucking asshole, I also ensured to link a article, but at the same time, I also wrote out the entire title, so you can literally Google it right now. And the title is How Black Trans People Experience Discrimination. And it's from Gender GP. It was published February 2nd, 2023. gendergp.com. The intersection of being black and trans is like the header. But then also you can Google how black trans people experience discrimination. Also, I'm screaming at the fact that it says have you heard, but I put herd as in like a herd of like sheep. Because again, I was manic. I was just writing fast, but that shit eats me up. Have you heard of the term white humor, Mr. Former Roommate? I love calling him Mr. Former Roommate. That shit is so fucking funny to me. You make those stupid race-based jokes. You making those stupid race-based jokes is a symptom of white humor. What is white humor, you may ask? White humor reinforces, because I have to go into it. Yo, I'm telling you, I'm a professor type energy. So every single time I'm gonna like size you up or tell you like it is, I'm always going to bring a book. I'm always going to give you a link. I'm going to give you an article, because at the end of the day, like, I'm not trying to be 100% an asshole. I'm only trying to be like 90% an asshole. So that 10%, I also want to actually give you something to take away with, because I don't want my conflict resolutions or just any types of interactions that I have with people to just be like meaningless and pointless. Like, we should take away something meaningful from all of our conversations, whether it's good or bad. Point blank, period. So anyways, white humor reinforces racism by using jokes that normalize stereotypes, belittle marginalized groups, and uphold whiteness as the norm. It disguises oppression as entertainment, making systemic issues like inequality and discrimination seem trivial or acceptable. By laughing at these jokes, people are maintaining and I quote, a culture that degrades others and protects the power of white supremacy, end quote. And I offered 2 resources where he can learn more about this conversation. And we have Simon Weaver's essay titled, and I quote, The Rhetoric of Racist Humor, US, UK, and Global Race Joking, end quote. This essay is published in the academic journal called Studies in American Humor, so you will find that there. The second academic resource that I provided for a deeper understanding on white humor and its relationship with blackness is Kevin Hilton's article, and I quote, I'm not joking, the strategic use of humor in stories of racism, end quote. This is published in the Journal of Ethnic and Racial Studies. Number 7. Alright, this one it gets juicy, y'all. You ready? And I quote, I digress. As I was saying, you and I both know you weren't talking about no black woman to Nick, your sister, or your coworkers that day. Another time, you literally spent an entire month bringing up black penises and then calling my name or associating my existence with those black penises. It's almost as if you were purposely trying to make me kill myself. Like, do you think this is a joke? As a person who is bipolar, autistic, and has ADHD, do you think my committing suicide is a joke to you? Seriously, answer this question. It's not a rhetorical question. Do you think black AMAPs, who are people who are assigned male at birth, just wear dresses for drag purposes because it's funny to entertain you people? Are black people just a fucking joke to you? A piece of shit on a stage you point and laugh at? Take pictures and post it? Do you see all of us as Medea on TV and film? Are we just a black man in a dress to you? Introspect on these questions, end quote. Introspect. I gave him a lot of room to really think about that shit. Number 8. You want to talk about suicide? Did you know that over 50% of transgender and non-binary youth under 25 have attempted suicide? Not thought about it, Mr. Former Roommate. Attempted. AJ and I are one of those people. Did you know that the average life expectancy for a black transgender woman is 32 years old? You know what yours is? Yours is over 70. I am 25 years old right now. That's how little time I have to live. And I spent 2 of these years thinking about killing myself, thanks to you, Papa. I'm surprised I didn't blow my brains out in this very home. And I don't give a fuck that you are uncomfortable by reading this. And I don't give a fuck if it reminds you of your friend and makes you cry. Good. Nothing you do will ever change the pain and harm you've caused me. Be uncomfortable. You weren't uncomfortable when you decided to strip that 18-year-old boy naked to show me his ass while you were forcing your small dick down his throat. Literally after he told you he didn't feel comfortable doing that in the moment. And yet, you replied, shut the fuck up. You weren't uncomfortable when you quickly rushed these white college twinks out of this house because Nick was on his way. Nick is his husband. And yeah, I must say Nick's name. Nick is fine. Anyways, it's fine. Nick is Nick. I'm sorry. No shade, but Nick is Nick. It's fine. You weren't uncomfortable calling me a man for 2 years. So why the flying fuck should I give a rat's ass about your fuck-ass man-child feelings? Kick rocks for all I care. You are an evil and horrible person, and I hope I have made that crystal clear thus far. But if it's not clear, let's continue reading. But if it's not clear enough, let's continue reading. End quote. Number 9. And I quote, "The privilege it is to be a white cisgender old man who owns private property and be able to dress up as a fucking dog whenever he wants. The privilege. You can dress up as a dog and take that mask off whenever you want. Since I came out of my mother's pussy, I have been seen as a rabid animal. I've been called a dog, monkey, and animal as young as 4 years old. I've been called dark horse too, and ape, and spider monkey. Can't forget about Terry Crews, Obama, you name it, I've been called that. Guess what people call you, Mr. Former Roommate? They call you by your name, Mr. Former Roommate. They just call you by your name. You have the privilege of being not only human, but your own individual human, your own individual self with a human name. I never got that. People refer to me as, hey boy, you over there, dark one, the Mexican, blackie, nigger, that spick, faggot. The list goes fucking on. No one ever said my name. Completely fucking invisible. And I love this because I highlighted this at the end in yellow. I said, you need to understand how privileged you are. To a lot of black people, brown people, and even poor people, you dressing up as a fucking dog in your free time is not only laughable, but a slap in the fucking face to all the decades and centuries of slavery, pain, and misery your people inflicted on us. End quote. At the end of the day, I don't fucking kink shame. I'm into kink. No problems with kink. But what we're not gonna fucking do is live your little kink life while making everybody else who doesn't look like you feel not like a human while you act like not a human. We're not doing that. So again, it's not kink shame, so don't get no fucking offended. I'm not playing with that shit. Let's be very clear at what we're trying to pull from these conversations. Número 10. And I quote, "You sneak around with young college boys every Thursday since I've known you. Despite you getting married, better yet, a week before getting married, you invited a kid over. Then you get married, wait about 2 weeks, and do it all over again with a different kid. And I thought Nick knew about it. I thought it was a kink thing. But why was Nick never present in the house? Every time you cuddled up with another white young boy his age, he was not in the house. Every time one of the boys saw me, their faces clearly showed that they were afraid and not aware of the fact that anyone would be home, inferring that they don't know about Nick. It's not that hard, especially when you have told me to my face to lie to your husband. And that instance is the one that we're going to talk about next. Number 11. And I quote, "You raped an 18-year-old boy right in front of me, and the next day told me not to tell Nick. The boy said he was uncomfortable and you forced him to perform oral on you. That's rape." End quote. That's rape. That's rape. And I want everyone to understand that. Say it with me. That's rape. And that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. Plain and simple. I'm not making no joke about it, nothing. Nice and dry. That is rape. That is unacceptable. Number 12. Why is there a camera in the kitchen when I spent over a year without it in the kitchen? Why is there a camera in the backyard patio when I'm the only one living in this house? Do you know how that makes me feel, Mr. Former Roommate? Do you know about the relationship between surveillance and black people? Do you? Did you know that the only reason why we even have the level of surveillance we do today is because of freed slaves? Did you know that? They didn't want us to do, quote unquote, whatever we wanted in their country. Slave patrols. Oh, you never heard of them? You never heard of the term? Oh, it's a real term. It's a real term, all right. But in modern day, we don't say slave patrols. We say NYPD, LAPD, Elmwood Park PD, cops. You get it. Cops never existed for the original genuine intent of protecting and serving. False. What exactly are you white people protecting your people from? The crows? The hummingbirds? Because you killed all the Native Americans, so it can't be them that y'all are protecting yourselves from. The camera in the kitchen, without asking for my permission and consent, was an absolute invasion of privacy. And I can take you to court for sexual assault. End quote. Number 13. This is the kicker, guys. This is the one. This is the gag. This is the T. This is the one. This is the gag. This is the T. This is the one. This is the gag. This is the T. Ooh. Alright, number 13. And I quote, "Speaking of, I can actually take you to court on several criminal charges of sexual assault, onto me and others. Don't you have a Grindr profile with a picture of you and Nick, but it was cropped out to only show you? Aren't you on Grindr trying to fuck minor boys and trans women? By the way, y'all, this man is a cis gay man. He says he hates pussy and he does not fuck with no women of any sort. So again, let's talk about trans misogynoir. He doesn't like pussy. He doesn't like women. He's not into women. But yeah, he's going to secretly fuck trans women. What does that say? Most importantly, he's going to secretly hit up black trans women. What does that say, guys? That says that he does not see trans women as women. He just sees them as a femboy. Let's really understand that, guys. That's exactly what that implies. Now let's go back to this. And I quote, "Aren't you on Grindr trying to fuck minor boys and trans women? Aren't you the one that confirmed that you are not married on Grindr? I hated that I was involved in this tension between you and Nick. I hate that you are a liar. All of this is a big reason why my suicidal ideation got so bad and why I had to increase my mental health medications not once, but twice. I only grew up in domestic violence and divorce and cheating and lying. You literally look like the father figure that quote unquote helped raise me. And by the way, he raped me." End quote. So yeah, bro. And the tea to spill it, because I didn't want to spill it while I was still in that house. But that person that he was texting on Grindr was me. He texted me twice. And in one instance, he was literally in his driveway, sitting in his truck, texting me, talking about how he's looking to bottom. When in the first year that I knew him. He was talking about how he doesn't bottom, how he's an alpha dog, and he only tops, and da 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 da. But he's literally sending me like butt pictures of his you know, he got a little jock strap, whatever the fuck that is. I got all the receipts. Don't even play. I screenshotted everything. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck because you don't even deserve to have any form of happiness. Absolutely the fuck not. Nope. Hell no. Literally wanted to kill myself. Actually, I'm not even playing for the past 2 years. And AJ can attest to that. Like, absolutely, AJ's a witness. Like, if it wasn't for AJ, deadass would not be here. Deadass. So shout out to my nigga AJ. Because no. No. Jesus. I need to roll the fuck up after this. I on purpose didn't smoke because I wanted to be focused. But fuck, man. This shit was a lot. I want to tell you that right now. Personally, for me, this was a lot. But it's really important for me to tell y'all these things, bro. Y'all don't understand. We're not going to heal as a society, bro. We're not going to heal. And some, you know, closing thoughts, right? Before I talk about unconditional love and shit, like, I'm just tired, guys. I'm just really fucking tired of the hypocrisy, of the irony. Like, bro, the statistics in Pornhub has statistics, right? Demographics for who is on their website and who searches up certain things. If you go to the map of the United States and you look at the demographic of people that are searching up the words trans porn, you're going to find those searches being searched in red states mostly. And it's just like, that's where all the anti-trans legislations are being, like, you know, birthed. You feel me? So it's just like, that's why I'm tired. Because, like, literally leave me the fuck alone type of thing. You feel me? It's just like, yeah, like, you guys are aggravating. Because, again, y'all don't understand this, so I'm going to say it like this, because only trans people understand this, especially black trans people. Like, we're only a fucking stage actor to these people, to all cis people. Let's just say it for what it fucking is, okay? Trans people are actors to cis people. We're entertainers, we're drag queens, we're this fucking thing. So when we start existing in real life, it's just like, bitch, you're supposed to only stay in film. That's basically what they're telling us. It's like, yeah, you could stay in film. That's cute. You could be Medea. That's cute, right? Because they look at me and they think Medea. Let's be so fucking for real. I'm not an idiot. I'm not a fucking dumbass. Let's be so fucking for real. It's either Terry Crews or Medea. You pick. So, boom. And it's just like, that's why I don't argue with people, because it's just like, you're so annoying. You're so annoying because it's the same way people, it's the same conservatives that are barking on social media, that are barking at me in person, that literally go home and jerk off to trans porn while their wife is sleeping right next to them. Like, bro, I'm done with y'all, bro. I'm done. I'm not an idiot. Ask any black trans woman. And I always say this, and I'm going to say this again. If I didn't say it on this podcast, I'm going to say it again. That is exactly why the life expectancy rate of black trans women is 32 years. Because these men thought they were slick, and greed got the best of them. So because the way our fuck-ass system works for fucking decades, a lot of trans people, black trans people, are sex workers, to the point where that's like a stereotype for us. And again, sex work is work, period. But at the same time, to assume an entire population of people only do sex work because of their identity, that's a problem. Because it was not because of our identity. It was because of the situation that this systemic oppression, that this system, rather, put us in. It made our identity a problem. Our identity is not a fucking problem. The system made our identity a problem. And because our identity is a problem, the only job that we had available to us was sex work. Entiende? So it's tiring. Because black trans women know all the secrets of everybody. That's why they're murdered so often. Because these men are stupid. Look at, I was about to say his name. Look at my former roommate. He's a fucking dumbass. You know he has a whole reputation? He has a whole reputation. Firefighter, mad people know him, was speaking for political shit. Like, he was even thinking about running for president. You know what I mean? And it's just like, bro, like, but again, go ahead, right? Because look who's president now, right? Right now, January 19th. Tomorrow, he's going to be official, right? January 20th. for a second time. Look who's running Georgia right now. Look who's running Texas and Florida right now. I'm not surprised. You understand? Like, they're all rapists and they all watch trans porn and they all are on Grindr texting people like me. And then they're gonna fuck them in real life. And then if they say anything, it's either hush money or kill them. The latter is usually more favorable. Why would you pay a tranny, right? So it's like, and again, we were literally just talking about this in episode fucking 3 with Agatha. So it's just like, for people that really listen to all of my podcast episodes, like, y'all really understand. Y'all got full context. Like, you guys have so many perspectives. You got black trans perspective from the Dominican Republic, and then you got Guyanese trans mask perspective, and then you got me. Like, and it's the same shit. Same shit, different day. Same shit, different people. That's why we're over it. That's just like, vete. You know what I mean? Like, vete. I still haven't listened to that man's album. I have a love-hate relationship with him. Yeah, I have 2 tattoos. I'm not naming his name. That's something that I'm going to do as an artist, guys. And as like an influencer, like, I'm going to be very conscious about giving people free marketing. Because eto una mierda. Yo, like, we can't even talk about people without other people getting fucking mad money for you saying their name. Fuck that shit. No. Y'all need to start saying my name so I can make a fucking millions. I'm not gonna be saying your damn name. I'm not saying none of their names anymore. No. I'm gonna be like Fulan that everybody likes. Let's say, because no, I'm sorry. And y también, like, we need to understand that these famous musicians, they forget we are the vessel of music, right? We are the beacon. We are we are just like the transponder. Like, we just this entity, right? The music breathes through us and it becomes what it is. We need to get rid of that, guys. This making our celebrities and musicians into this god complex. Yes, like, obviously it's the people. They put their effort in, they put whatever, but al final del dia, like, we're listening to the music. It's about the music, it's about the art, it's about people using their emotions, their heart, their passions, their anger, their misery to make something meaningful. And it's like, I just get so annoyed when we get so caught up in the bullshit with these people. And don't get me wrong, I do know that this new album of his is, like, legendary in so many ways. And I'm excited because at the end of the day, like, as Caribbean people, we need more timeless pieces. Like, no tea, no shade. But as Caribbean people, like, bitch, we have the same samples from the 90s being replayed in our songs. Like, no tea, no shade, but we need new ad-libs, new new female voices. Like, it's great and all, but it's like El Diablo. Like, even DJs that are Caribbean DJs or Latinx DJs, right? Dominican, Puerto Rican DJs, they always mix in the same type of Adoni. Well, I mean, it's because he be DJing a lot, but that's one example. But you know what I mean? Like, even the little ad-libs, the little background vocals in the back, like, for people that are actually, like, who love music and listen to music, like, you know this in Caribbean music, you know this in Latinx music, a lot of the sounds are just sounds these niggas took from the 80s and 90s. And it's like, bitch, are we not inspired? Like, let's be inspired now, you know? So yes, I do appreciate him for doing that. Long story short. And now so I digress. Let's go back to what we were talking about. Let's go back to unconditional love, right? Unconditional love was absolutely non-existent in that household that I lived in for 2 years, in the households that I lived in my entire life. And I'm very happy, very blessed. I don't ever have to step foot in that household or see that man again. Can I get an ashe? Ashe, ashe, ooh. Period, because I can't. I'm happy to say that, like, everything right now is, like, you know what I mean? Like, ain't nobody pissing me off right now. Everything is, like, in order. Because I can't. Oh, my God. It's always a problem. It's always a problem. There's always something. So, see. Again, that's, like, you heard it all. It's unconditional love. It's learning about my vulnerabilities. It's learning about your own vulnerabilities. I really hope that you took away something from this episode. I hope you heard some of the words in verbatim, and it reminded you and even triggered you in a good and bad way of people in your past. Because again, like, you're supposed to be triggered. Like, that's how we learn, that's how we grow, that's how we are able to identify, right? We touch the fire, we get triggered because it's hot. But now that trigger taught us that we can't touch the fire with our bare fucking hands. So that being said, thank you for listening. Make sure to follow my podcast and turn on that notification button so that you can be the first to listen to my upcoming podcasts. Make sure to also give me a follow on my Instagram at gamoisnotdead_, and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Gamo, aka La Reina Taina. I'm your host, La Reina Taina, and as always, vete con Dios. Y que Dios te da amor, sabiduría y salud. Mwah.
No pasa nada, yo vendo agua, meneo culito como Tyler, amor profundo como